to the spot to come in, get a quick nap in. We were at the coffee shop all rising. We were there till about 5 a.m. just getting work done. I've been very productive out here in the Bangkok area. I like it out here because this allows me to lock in and just focus. And me going back to America, this is how it's going to be as well. Really being able to just provide and over deliver on value. So today I want to go ahead and give you guys a sub chapter that will show you guys how to remove anything off of one's consumer report. This will go ahead and get you guys. Let me see. I always want that a little bit. But how you guys feeling today? Let's go ahead and drop something in the chat that we're all grateful for. Go ahead and express 1 to 3 things that you guys are all grateful for, but continue to share where you guys are tuning in from as well. We tour, as you guys see, has been obviously delayed. But we're gonna run tour in the month of June, but we're out here worldwide traveling and touring the world rather than the States. But I'm gonna definitely do the States. And be traveling throughout the States and have different cities that I'm gonna hit within there. So make sure to drop what city you guys are tuning in from. Today, if you guys have questions, let's drop those questions. I definitely want to be interactive with you guys, go back and forth, help you guys with any process, any steps. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and break through and go through the sub chapter that's gonna help you guys remove anything off one's consumer report. You guys have debt collectors reaching out to you guys. You guys have financial institutions, banks, repossession companies, any of these corporations that are reaching out to you guys attempting to collect an alleged debt. See, I'm going to break down the sub-chapter that's going to help you guys and, what sub-chapter to specifically hold them, in accordance to. So I'm going to take you guys really quick here to the term debt. The term debt, as we see within 15 U.S.C. 1692A, it states it's any obligation or alleged obligation of a consumer to pay money arising out of a transaction in which the money, property, insurance, or services which are the subject of the transaction are primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, whether or not such obligation has been reduced to judgment. So the biggest thing that I want to bring awareness to is an alleged obligation, right? And that's the thing, is they haven't properly validated nor verified it. It's simply just an allegation. Anytime we see the word "or," that's Congress letting us know that we have the option to choose whether we want it to be an obligation or it's an alleged obligation. Furthermore, going throughout here, I want you guys to get familiar with the term debt collector. The term debt collector means any person, right? Now we got to understand, this is where understanding the keys of these definitions is vital, right? That's why I talked about yesterday or earlier today, getting that Black's Law Dictionary so that we actually know the terms within these codes that we're reading, right? Any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce or the mails in any business, the principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts. We just broke down the definition of debt. Right now, any person who uses any instrumentality. So what's instrumentality? Instrumentality can be, your bank statement. It could be anything that states that you owe anything that's, in a positive balance, or, and really if I owe something, it should be in a negative balance. But they're sending me an invoices with, a positive balance stating that I owe this, right? It's because it's already been credited. They're just attempting to collect even more, and you're crediting them even more every single month. Right, so what I want you guys to understand is that debt collector is any person, right? And a person is a natural person or an organization. So it can be any organization, and it is any organization who's using any instrumentality of interstate commerce. Understand for me that everything within the United States Inc., remember that the United States is a federal corporation, and pursuant to Title 28 U.S. Code 3002, number 15. If you scroll down to number 15, it will define the United States as a federal corporation. So understanding that, family, within a corporation is commerce, is a business transaction. So coming through here in the FDCPA and breaking down the term debt collector and debt, already lets us know that, you know, all these financial institutions are debt collectors, and they're all held liable within the FDCPA. So now, family, let's go ahead. Peace and love, Bella Stevens, W. Howard. I'm not sure what that means. Peace and love, though. Peace and love. So I want you guys to come here to the congressional findings of the FDCPA. So within the congressional findings of the FDCPA, it talks about, and it's a declaration of purpose, meaning that there's facts and there's evidence, and it states with hair. I'm not sure what that means. So check this out, I mean, there is abundant evidence of the use of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. So right away, it's letting us know already that there's abundant evidence of the use of abusive. How many of you guys have been abused by these debt collectors? How many of you guys have been deceived by them into signing agreements that you had nothing, that you didn't know anything about what took place? Deception, unfairness. How many of you guys have gone through a consumer credit transaction and it's been unfair to you, the consumer? Abusive debt collection practices contribute to the number of personal bankruptcies, to marital instability, to the loss of jobs, and to the invasion of an individual's privacy. Why are we talking about privacy in the FCRA, which we talked about yesterday, and also the FDCPA? It's because it's vital to, that we consumers have privacy, because we're not obligated to operate in the public, right? We're able to operate completely in the private, and in the private, privacy is, it's a right, it's mandatory, it's something that's God-given. That's why there's a whole subchapter under the Graham-Leach-Bailey Act, which is also within Title 15, but it's not in Chapter 41. This is in Chapter 94. So this is 15 U.S.C. 6801. So this is a whole privacy subchapter that's governing, your privacy as a consumer. This is the protection of non-public personal information. It states that it is the policy of the Congress that each financial institution has an affirmative and continued obligation to respect the privacy of its customers and to protect the security and confidentiality of those consumers' non-public personal information. But why is it that there's over 330 consumer report agencies that are also reporting this information, on my consumer report? So with this one subchapter, we can go out and get anything removed from our consumer report. I want to bring awareness to this. This is the FDCPA, and within the FDCPA, I want to show you guys some things before we head out of here. I wanted to make this live pretty quick, but I wanted to show you guys this really quick. So, this is the congressional findings. So this is what Congress found, right? They found that there's abundant evidence of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices. So now I want to show you guys this. Anytime I go through the subchapters, I'm coming here and I'm looking in the overview of this subchapter. Excuse me. So these are all the codes within the FDCPA. So now we talked about abusive. So we talked about abusive. Harassment or abuse is here in the FDCPA. I can promise you guys have at least one violation in here. A debt collector may not engage in any conduct, the natural consequence of which is to harass, oppress, or abuse any person in connection with the collection of a debt, without limiting the general application of the foregoing. The following conduct is a violation of this section. Number 1 talks about the use of or threat of use of violence or other criminal means to harm the physical person, their reputation. How many of you guys' reputation has been ruined from them calling your employment, and stating that you owe an alleged debt, from them coming to your property, with the tow truck and looking to tow your guys' property? Right? How many of you guys in your reputation has been ruined or harmed? Right? How many of you guys going through, have, had Now, number 2, it talks about the use of obscene or profane language. How many of you guys have had them state that you owe a debt? Well, in this household, debt is profane language. We don't use that terminology within this household. That is profane language within our household. Congress does not define, what profane language is. They leave it up to you, the consumer, to define such. So I want you guys to understand for me that this is just, right here in the term abuse. So we talked about there's abundant evidence of abusive, deceptive. Now let's head into deception. Right here in deception, we got false or misleading representation. And right after that, we got unfair practices. So we talked about abuse, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices. If you don't know what I'm referring to, I'm referring to literally congressional findings. This is what Congress found. This is why the subchapter was passed. There is abundant evidence of the use of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. Right, and these all contribute to the number of personal bankruptcies, to marital instability. Marriages, we're talking about literally unstable because of these debt collectors and their wrongful doing, to the loss of jobs, people losing their jobs, people's privacy being invaded. Privacy is one of our the main things that on our main rights that we have as consumers. So now we talk about deception, false or misleading representation. I can promise you guys that you guys will find at least, if an attorney is defending any corporation, this will automatically trump and, close that case right then and there. They had nothing to do, nor were they, present during the transaction, so they're operating off of hearsay, right? Furthermore, a debt collector may not use any false, deceptive, or misleading representation or means in the connection with the collection of any debt without limiting the general application of the foregoing. The following conduct is a violation of this section. So what I want you guys to understand is that there's many violations of deception. We just got to go through and read it. Only you guys can go through and define, how you guys have been deceived or not. That's why it's vital that we all understand how to do for self, how to apply these codes, where to apply them. So certain places that we'll go through and apply them. The main one that I want you guys to focus on right now is the Bureau. Whom and what is the Bureau? The Bureau is the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. If we come here to the FDCPA again, they're going to define the Bureau, or they don't define it in the FDCPA, they define it in Truth in Lending, which is in the same subchapter, 1602, and also in the FCRA. But they define the Bureau as the Consumer Financial Protection. So what I want you guys to understand, family, is that peace and love, Anderson. Visit. I'm not sure why I would visit, but yeah, family. So this is all taught within the university. The university has been growing rapidly. I just dropped and shared some business grants with my university students. Those that have enrolled will also, and those that do enroll within the next couple of days, the next 2 days by Sunday at midnight, I'll go ahead and I'll get you guys access to the 5-day masterclass for completely free from joining YBC University. So all this is taught within the university more in depth. I wanted to come here and show you guys the use of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices. This is literally why the whole FDCPA was passed, and then they go on to elaborate, within those codes and show you guys how there's a code for each one of those abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices, because there's abundant evidence of the use of such. Furthermore, we go into the definition section, and then right after that, we go into debt validation. So this is properly validating the debt, because there's no way of them properly being able to validate it. Something that a lot of people, go through and, forget to read is C, 1692 GC. So this is the failure of a consumer to dispute the validity of a debt under the section. It may not be construed by any court as admission of liability by the consumer. So I want you guys to understand that as well too, and exercise that as well. But above all else, validation of debts. Oh, I just went through that. Multiple debts. If there's multiple debts that they're attempting to collect, this is there for you as well too. Legal actions that debt collectors can take. Furnishing deceptive forms. How many of them have furnished deceptive forms, to get you guys to, go through and contractually bind with them? How to hold them civilly liable. Administrative enforcement. Reports to Congress by the Bureau. Who is the Bureau? The CFPB. Relations to state law. Exemption for state regulation and exemption for certain bad check enforcement programs operated by private entities. So really everything that you're going to need is all the way up from A or 1692 all the way through K, right? You can also read through administrative enforcement, but everything that you're going to need is 1692 through 1692K. 1692K is the civil liability section where we can go out and get remedy within the subchapter, and we can get up to $1,000 per each violation or any actual damage that's taking place. And you, the consumer, define the damage and what damage has been done. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Above all else, let's make sure we're taking action. Right? Let's learn, apply. Learn, apply. Learn this information, apply this information. I want you guys to fail forward. I want you guys to, fail by learning. I want you guys to go through, and apply this information and then respond, even if we don't get the deletion right away, even if it's not discharged right away. We've now gotten a response to where now this response is going to help us have a better understanding of what it is that we're exercising, so we can go out and remove further accounts even more simple. We can go out and help those around us remove these accounts even more simple, family. This is an overnight thing, not an overnight thing. So if you guys are looking for microwave results, this is not, for you guys at all. But above all else, if you guys are looking to free oneself, we got to unlearn everything that we've been taught to relearn. That's why I put together YBC University, to help you guys literally reprogram your guys' way of thinking and get familiar with consumer law to be able to discharge any debt from one's consumer report. Peace and love, family. I appreciate you all tuning in. I'll see you guys here again in the next couple hours. I'm about to be heading out of Bangkok here either tonight or tomorrow, so I got to get everything packed up, situated, and move around. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the 5-day masterclass. For everybody that is looking for free access, simply join the university within the next 48 hours now, and you guys will be able to get access to YBC University or the 5-day masterclass along with YBC University. Tongue twister, but above all else, I'll see you guys very soon. I'll see you guys all at the top. Y'all know why, man, because the bottom is way too crowded. Peace and love, family.